want to thank you for joining us today here at We want to thank you for joining us today here at... Oh, shut up. I'm going to get it. We want to thank you here for joining us today here. So, moving on to our other... to our next... what the hell is this shit again? Moving on to our next... what? As well as the entered... as well as... so that we... Do you think I could do radio?
You had the face for it.
Oh, God, I hate you.
What's new?
Because I need therapy.
Can you tell the difference in the quality of the video?
Unfortunately, yes, you can see your face clear.
What are you doing?
I am standing because I am getting swamp ass.
Dude, the one cheek sneak doesn't work when everybody's staring at you. Did you not notice I increased the size significantly?
No,
my goodness.
I'm also dyslexic. Gert.
What?
Ian.
The system is down.
Is it?
If you have any feedback, other tips and tricks, or topics you'd like to discuss, please send them to us.
Do you find backgrounds in 5th edition a bit dull?
They don't really do anything half the time.
Yeah, well, join us as we discuss better backgrounds for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Hello and welcome, heroes, to the Crit Academy. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Ian.
And I'm your guest host, Matthew.
We hope to inspire you with creative content that you can bring with you on your next adventure. I am so excited for today's episode, you guys.
And and in chat, Wizard Kia says, Merry Christmas, heroes. And to you, I say, Merry Christmas as well. Even though it's a couple weeks from now. But hey.
That's like forever from now, so why don't you come back during Christmas time? All right, so first of all, I want to say thank you for filling in, Matt. We appreciate it. I usually get a call from Brandon really short notice, and he usually hooks up, but actually you got a couple of days notice this time, so
Yeah.
I do want to say I appreciate it. So thank you.
And I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, you're actually good conversation. So I'll keep inviting you back till you're boring. So what are better backgrounds? Before we get into that, what do you think are some of the current issues with the way 5th edition does backgrounds now, including the changes they are making moving forward?
Currently, I would say the big issue is 9 times out of 10, it just does not come up, like, ever.
Just when you're talking, yes, I used to be a sailor. Great.
Yep. Or, I'm a folk hero, when the DM and the other players remember.
What about you, Matt?
I think there's just too little for so much. There's lack of flexibility for what you're trying to create thematically. For example, be a soldier. Okay, what's your rank or what platoon?
And then does that even come into play during the game?
Yeah.
Almost never.
Yeah. So, and I think Wizards of the Coast has kind of identified this, right? While they're starting to give feats to 5th edition abilities through the 1D&D and what is the Harry Potter adventure book they had come out? The one in schools. I don't remember what it is.
I'm blanking out because I never played it.
Yeah.
I never heard of this.
Jeez. Anyways, one of the books they came out with started it, and now it's showing up in the 1D&D stuff in the Unearthed Arcana, where they give feats. Well, a nice little content creator actually did a really nice job of identifying this failure and making it better. But instead of just being like a feat, they gave an entire progression tree and options you can pick as you level up that go with the backgrounds.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I think this is really cool because it's not just a boring progression tree. It's, here's options, pick them, a lot like the Warlock invocations, right?
Yep.
At certain levels, you need certain prerequisites to get it, and it kind of just compounds this background, and it gives more mechanical benefits to the backgrounds. Now, I wanna preface this with, they're kind of strong, right?
Yep.
They do stuff, and it almost makes it a real big extension of your character.
And to be fair, we have gone over supplements in the past that have done that too, which is, well, shows you why session 0 is important, so you're all on the same page.
Yes. So in better backgrounds for 5e, there's like 21 different backgrounds they've created, which does include the originals that are offered in the player's handbook, but they're completely redone. Now, obviously, they go all the way from like level 1 through 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
Different, and that's something that I think is cool because your background, your character doesn't stop being that, right?
No, in theory.
If you're in, yeah, right, in theory, if you're a sailor, you don't stop being a sailor. You just maybe don't go on sails very often, right? But it doesn't mean you're not working to improve or your interest isn't still there when you're not adventuring. And so the better backgrounds actually kind of provokes the character's artisan skill in that background where it's becoming more prevalent. They're becoming better at it, even if it's just a noble in getting better with conversation or influencing people, right?
Yep.
And that's actually the one we're going to talk about tonight, right off the top. I've let the guys decide if they want to talk about some of the ones that they thought were of interest, but that's the one I picked since I wrote the show notes. That's where we're going. But I really want to touch on this. Something that it does is it utilizes a very powerful resource that's underused. Now, we've talked about this resource a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We played 4th edition, right?
Yep.
Where hit dice were a resource. Well, that's what powers the resources for your backgrounds
Mm-hmm.
is your hit dice. Now, some of them don't cost any hit dice, but it lowers your maximum number of hit dice. So you can pick up this really powerful skill, but it's going to cost you 3 hit dice permanent reduction. So you might be at level 10 with only 7 hit die. So there's a cost associated to some of them. The more powerful they are, the higher the cost.
Wow, high risk, high reward.
Yes, but remember I told you at the beginning, they're powerful.
Yep.
And this is kind of the creator's way of balancing that a little bit.
Yeah.
And it also gives you something to do with your hit dice, which I'm a fan of. We've been doing that for a while, right?
Yep.
Our what is it? The
Constitution checks for adventuring, like traversing, environmental hazards.
oh yeah. So that's something that I've done a lot. Also, our warlord that uses shouts, battle shouts, to power their as their features, uses their hit die as their mechanics. So it's a big number instead of just a little one. But anyways, so I'm really excited by that. Tonight, we're gonna delve in specifically to the noble background and the details that goes with each of those. But keep in mind, each one of these backgrounds is designed to make the character considerably more flexible and adaptable.
Yep.
And it gives you more options. You guys like more options?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does this sound right off the get-go? I know you guys have kind of perused through it.
Well, it provides what I find lacking with the current edition of D&D, and that's flexibility and possibly themes.
Right.
Like where did
Themes, I like that.
yeah.
Keep going.
Like for example, the one I chose, which I'll get to later, what the one I chose to talk about was City Watch.
Mm-hmm.
That is very specific. It's not folk hero, it's not soldier, it's City Watch. It's like a common person that defines your character as a background.
Bill, I saw you up in the watchtower not doing shit last night. Yeah, it's pretty good. City Watch. Not very.
Yeah.
Soldier.
Because Jack going down.
Why do you think I joined the City Watch? When you're a soldier, they make you march. I think that's a really good point. So today we're going to touch on the noble, as I mentioned. First, we're going to start off they give a wonderful spew of flavor to these.
Mhm.
I only took a snippet from it, and if you'd like to follow along, you can actually see the details written out at our blog at critacademy.com/blog. So check that out. It basically said the outline here is you come from a noble family. You're not much richer than any other background, so presumably you're far enough down the line of succession that there's not much inheritance left for you, which I think is a little bit of humor in there, right? You're noble, but
Lower the totem pole.
yeah, but you're at the bottom of the totem pole, which I think is really good. So what are some of the features you're gonna get? Just like the original backgrounds, you're gonna get new skills, right?
Yep.
So for this one, we get 2 skills. We get history and persuasion, both which align very well with the noble. You also get one language of your choice, which I think is fantastic. And I think that on that note, I really like the way the new one D&D is going with these sorts of options, giving you a little more flexibility and tying it in. Because now, if you're a noble in one country, you might have a specific language outside of your um, race's language, specific to whatever stuff you do, or what are your allies, right? Your the people that
Allegiances.
thank you. Yes,
Subjects.
your alliances too. Yes. You don't get no tools. You get the generic equipment with the fine equipment. One thing I noticed, there is a significant change to the budget you start with,
It's
and all
bigger.
of them. Like I'm pretty sure the default is like 15 gold for
It-
a noble.
It depends.
Is
but
it
yes.
15 or 10?
It
Unless you roll, right?
It depends, but yes.
This one's 75 gold, which that says wealth. Even at the bottom of the succession line, you still out have more than a farmer. What do they make, like a gold a month or something? I don't remember.
I'm still richer than you, peasants.
So let's talk about just picking up this background before you pick anything. It's worth noting that you get to pick a number of mechanics based on your proficiency bonus, right? So as you level up, you'll get more. All the way up to level 20, you get 6. So you'll be able to pick up to 6 of these different features.
And there are requirements based on your character's level.
Yep, and you can change them out as you go too. I think so. Well, I hope. I don't actually remember if I read that now that I think about it. So as soon as you pick it up, you automatically get access to Charm Person, and you can spend 1 hit die to cast Charm Person. So I got a question for you. What's the save?
Yeah.
Doesn't really touch on that very much.
No.
At least I didn't, unless I missed it. Do you, if somebody could find that, that would be great. But it doesn't actually touch on what the saving throws are, I think, unless I missed it.
Well, just to make it a persuasion check. So
Well, yeah, right. So I mean, we know it's charisma, but when you write a supplement, it should be written out and defined clearly.
Yep.
So I do mention that in my grading when I published this as a blog.
Yeah.
That was kind of one of the downsides of the mechanics could be used in work. But anyways, so right out being a noble, you already got magic to charm people, which makes sense. They'd be manipulating the shit out of people, right?
adore me, peasants, for I am your better.
So what do you guys think about this right out the gate getting this?
My one drawback is what's the save for Charm Person?
Yeah,
if
like
you
I said,
have
I think the assumption is it uses the same method as
Spells.
the spells.
Mhm.
So if the spell says they make a a charisma saving throw, I assume you use no, they'd be wisdom saving throw, wouldn't it? No, charisma. I don't
Also, it's
remember.
charm person, so I guess like up to spell. But anyway.
Yeah. But anyways, so that would be my only spot. But I think that's really cool. Once again, one of my things that led it to B instead of an A is the fact that it doesn't tell us what level. The assumption here is level, right? But I would say to Chamomile, who did write this, that would be a change I would make. Make it clear in there. You cast it at its lowest level when you spend a hit die, right? And I also think it should be limited to how often you can use it, but it's not. But anyways,
Well, you
in
spend
spite of all that,
Well, so spend the hit die to use.
well, I guess
so.
you run out of hit die, right? So higher levels you can cast it kind of willy nilly, right? So overall, that's pretty cool. Ian, do you want to tell us about the do you know about the first impressions ability?
Well, first impression, when you first encounter someone, you can spend a hit die to make a favorable first impression as a reaction. You can make an immediate persuasion check to improve their opinion of you before either one of you has said a word or taken any action, which can, for example, diffuse a combat before it starts, before, then after, or convince the bandits that they like the look of you and they'll let you pass unrobbed.
So I got a question. Is that better or worse than Charm Person?
I'd say it depends on the situation.
Does Charm Person say if they fail, they know you've attempted to use magic on them?
That's true.
I actually pulled it up.
Look at you.
Uh,
Matt. That's why you're here today.
and does
So I can
so
rely on you to be my Encyclopedia Britannica. Do they still have those?
Yes.
Or am I really dating myself?
till the spell ends
It's
or
called,
until
it's called
you-
Wikipedia now.
The charmed creature regards you as a friendly acquaintance. When the spell ends, the creature knows that it was charmed by you.
There we
it
go.
does not say that the target immediately becomes hostile. That's their own action.
Right, but they do know that it's magical. So the first impressions doesn't have that
Yeah.
because it's not magic.
It's more of your
Presence.
presence, your silver tongue, your non-magical silver tongue.
Yes. What is the dude on that does the America's Got Talent? Big burly black dude. Terry Crews.
Terry Crews.
He's got that on all the time. He's so buff, he never runs out of hit dice. He just always casting first impression, right? He walks in like, how's everyone like, sir, can I get you anything? Anyways, so I think that that's a really good next kind of ability to give and offer. It's very straightforward. It fits the theme and it's non-magical.
Yep.
I think that is key. It's non-magic because then you're not using magic to bind somebody to your way of thinking, right?
Yep.
What about persuasive bribery there, Matt? Is that something that really tickles the dice?
You've mastered the art of making a bribe not look like a bribe. You offer flattering gifts and charitable donations before rather than after, making a request disguising a crude transaction as mutual generosity between friends.
Wow.
You always have advantage on persuasion or deception checks after you've bribed the target. Even one who would normally be unmoved or insulted by bribery, and you can spend a hit die to add your proficiency bonus again to any persuasion or deception check on which you've bribed them.
Basically gives expertise and advantage. That's powerful.
That
That's very potent. Once again, you got to keep in mind these do require
a hit
dice.
die.
hit die to use, so you will run out of juice if you keep using. What I think is cool about the reason I picked this particular class to talk about was because so many mechanics are non-combat based,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. I am shocked, sir. Shocked that you have gambling in this establishment. Yo, I think so. Thank you.
That's funny. So overall, you're already starting to get a kind of theme for the noble, and what is that theme with their background abilities?
I'm rich.
And that's like Batman. That's their superpower, right?
He's rich.
Yeah.
Yep.
Isn't that what the Flash asked him? What's your superpower? I'm rich, right? And that's kind of what's going on here. You're able to use your influence. So now when somebody picks the noble, they're picking it for beyond just the story background. But when I pick it, I get all these cool things that give me the gift of gab, according to Wizard Cadius's mother.
The gift of Gab, Casablanca. Nice.
My reference.
What's that?
My reference
Oh.
earlier.
So you're already starting to see a theme. So we mentioned that you can pick and choose these because you only get so many based on your proficiency bonus.
Of course.
So there's a couple different ones that are just a little more straight expertise or training, like Scholar.
Yep.
Those give you proficiency proficiency in a skill such as Arcana, History, or Medicine, or whatever, or expertise if you're already proficient. I think that's really good because most of the time the only two classes that get expertise are the Rogue and the Bard, right?
Yeah.
So that gives another tool to become more proficient in certain skills, which if you're picking the noble background, that's probably the direction you're trying to go.
Or
right?
you could go the socialite route, which
Socialite.
Socialite, sorry.
Socialite.
Which you can gain proficiency in either deception, insight, or persuasion, or you can become
It got
have
cut off. You're right.
expertise
Yeah, it got off.
if
That's
bef-
my bad.
to those said skills if you're already proficient.
Yep.
Which honestly, this is long story short, when Xanathar's Guide to Everything was coming out, there was Unearthed Arcana feat that they had for humans, half elf and half elves, called Everybody's Friend, which basically you gain proficiency with persuasion and deception, but if you're already proficient, you gain expertise in both those skills.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was
Hey.
and I thought that was completely broken as a feat.
You think so?
Yeah.
I
But-
don't know. Seems like it
If you
fits.
already were
Perhaps.
proficient with deception and persuasion and you chose that feat, you'd be expertise
But
with.
taking a feat to get expertise, I think, is a fair trade-off.
That's true.
All right.
And now we're in the minimum level 5 example. Starting
Ooh,
with
I like these.
Charm and Smile. You can spend a hit die to charm a creature as a bonus action this
Oh
time.
no.
Make a persuasion check, roll against their charisma save.
Contested checks. We don't get enough of those. And F Wizards of the Coast for trying to get rid of contested checks.
Something they did. If you win, the target creature is charmed by you until the end of your next turn. Yes, that does mean you get advantage on charming them again next turn.
Yes.
But bear in mind that charming them does not hinder them and attacking your fellow party members at all.
And it's not magical.
No.
That's fascinating.
Screw you, elves.
F you and your immunity to charming, right? Is immunity or advantage?
Advantage.
Advantage. So you're starting to see that this theme is continuing to build on it. But it isn't all just charming with smiles, right? There's immoral options too, like improve or tyrannical commands, right? Permanently reduce your hit die by 2. Now this is a new feature, right?
Yeah.
You're not you have to reduce your permanent hit dice, which is a big hit by 2, and you can spend 1 hit die to cast the command or 2 to cast Zone of Truth or Hold Person. So you're starting to see a trend with some of these give you access to magical spells, right?
Wow.
And that's where I mentioned that some of them are very powerful. And if you don't all use these backgrounds, you're going to have somebody everyone's going to be at a disadvantage that doesn't use these.
Okay, apparently one little sparks like, here's a complaint against Justin. He was told the dice bag will be featured in every episode going forward.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's sitting on my desk. I'll make sure that's in the next episode and I'll sit it right here. So for those of you who don't know, when we were at the what was the convention we just went to?
Going to Ohio.
No,
GooseCon?
GooseCon.
But it was in Ohio,
One of
so
our
yes.
lovely fans, one little spark, Rachel,
Yep.
handmade me a dice bag.
It was very nice.
What?
Yes. And it's supposed to be right here. And it's not. So I'm going to take care of that. I promise you. Thank you so much. All right. So back on track. So this is an interesting ability because it gives you access to a multitude spells of varying levels.
Oh, yeah.
What Zone of Truth? That's what? Is that 4th level?
No.
2nd level.
Or Hold Person.
Hold Person 2nd level, right?
Yep, it is
Yes.
2nd level.
So you'll see the higher you get, the more powerful the spells you gain access to.
In the name of me! Stop.
In the name of
Oh, yeah. Zone of Truth is 2nd level.
Really? Wow. Anyway, so we're getting more powerful spells, but we're sticking to that theme, right? Now we're not going to go through all these because I want to talk about some of the other ones they have. But but as you get higher in level, like level 9, you get abilities such as Heroic Reputation that even in nations where the aristocracy are expected to lead their people into battle on the regular. Wow, what the hell? Probably at least 2 to 5 people who have 9 levels, but those are peasants. Wow.
That's
Which
right.
means bards and minstrels gravitate towards casting you as the main character and them as the supporting cast. Your noble class feature now extends not just to nobility, but to everyone who doesn't specifically hate you on their entire institution of aristocracy. I hate that word.
Yeah, who doesn't hate you or the entire institution of aristocracy.
Oh, thank you for correcting me. So commoners extend their hospitality to you on account of your celebrity. You're a damn rock star. And I think that is awesome. Terry Crews, yes! It says, and the elites from lands far and wide, far from the influence of feudalism, will take your noble title seriously because it was you who holds it, even if the title by itself would come across as exotic or quaint. This is interesting. This is one that there's not a direct mechanical advantage, that it's closer to the original design of the backgrounds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you think it should be a level 9 requirement?
Yes.
Why?
Just because you're higher level, therefore you probably have more reputation anyway. Therefore, you can leverage it more.
Yeah, that's actually the exact answer I was looking for. And I didn't even write that down for him to say.
It's true.
What do you think, Matt?
Actually, Ian does make a very good point with what he just said. I guess I'm gonna be fully supporting that.
Yeah. This is funny because I'm imagining rock stars. You're the rock star, and your party are just your backup singers. And everyone treats them that way.
Wow.
Like, can you imagine our adventure party walking into a town and they swarming around me and ignoring your characters?
Yep, you may be John Deacon, guitarist for Queen, but you're not the lead singer.
See? How many of you actually knew who that was?
Bing.
Get the hell out of here. Anyways.
To be fair, I only knew the name because I watched the movie Weird, the Weird Al story.
Oh, what a great show. It was very chaotic and confusing. Anyways,
That was great.
so yeah, right. So now we're like, I don't want to get into that. So now we're starting to get into some of the more powerful stuff. So one thing I want to kind of jump into, so we have time to talk about, would be the higher level ability that's farther down the list. That we're gonna jump right here. Which is going to here we go. Legendary leadership. Minimum level 17 requires heroic leadership. When you give an ally a leadership die, it becomes a D12 instead of a D8. Now we didn't touch on this,
No.
but basically it's
like aid on crack.
aid. I'd say aid. I
Yep.
was actually thinking
Bardic
Inspiration, but I think aid is actually more accurate because guess what? It stacks
Yep.
with Bardic Inspiration. So if you're a bard and you take this background and this particular feature, oh,
I'm going to tell you, peasants, about a story of a great hero. Me.
So if you're a player and you had an option to something like this, would this be appealing to you?
Yes.
Sure.
What would you do with it? How would you get the most out of giving another player an extra dice to roll at the cost of your own hit die?
I'm the noble. Of course my subjects will do the work for me.
It's too exhausting here. Peasant, take care of it. I'm not a peasant. I'm an elite of Bahamut. So these are interesting because they are mechanics that are strong and they are game changers for your character design.
Yep.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
And it goes through all 21 of these. And I think that's fantastic. Now, we spent so much time talking about the Noble because that's the one I really jive with because it had so many non-combat mechanics. I know my boy Matt over here actually had one he wanted to talk about. Do you want to touch on one or two, talk about the background and one or two of the key features that really stood out to you?
So I chose the City Watch background.
Now,
kinda
it's
skimmed
not a giant tower with a big clock on it, okay? So that's what I thought when he said City
Oh,
Watch.
you're funny. So you gain proficiency with athletics, insight, or perception.
It's pretty good.
You don't learn any extra languages and don't learn any extra tools. You get a common set of clothes, a City Watch uniform, a club, and 10 gold pieces.
Okay, so what is a core feature that just stands out?
I'm in the wrong club.
You're in the wrong club.
I don't know.
So there's one feature called Detective. You gain proficiency in one investigation or perception, or gain expertise if you already are proficient. So because that you're a watchman of your home city,
Mm-hmm.
it's natural that you would have to be actively perceptive or investigative to watch over your city.
Okay, so that makes sense. What about some of the big features you get mechanics wise?
Ooh, here's
Because
one.
there's one that really tickles my dice.
There's one. Pack tactics.
Ah, yeah, that's the one. Pack tactics.
You permanently reduce your hit dice by 1 to gain the Pack Tactics feature, giving you advantage on all attacks against a target adjacent to one of your allies. That is so good.
Yes, and this is where I come into where I think some of these aren't. They needed a little more work because I think losing one maximum hit die is not a great enough trade-off for basically advantage all the time.
I'd say either give it a level requirement, a minimum level requirement,
Yep.
or increase the hit die reduction.
Yeah, I would do at least 2. What do you
Mhm.
think, Ian?
I bet that does sound
Because
in line,
because
yeah.
if a rogue picks this up,
Oh my
sneak attack all the time.
gosh.
And I'm guessing as you level up, you move up a rank in the city watch, and you'll eventually get some dudes you can command. I'm guessing.
I think you get
There's a leadership.
there's
Yep.
a leadership one.
When
Yep,
an
there
ally
it is.
within 30 feet of you makes an attack or a saving throw, you can spend a hit die to add a d4 to the roll. A creature can only benefit from 1 leadership die at a time. So it's basically a bless.
Yeah, which I think is fair enough. The thing that really jumped out at me for this is there's 2 of them. There's legendary fortitude, so whenever you fail a strength or con save, you can spend a hit die to automatically succeed.
Oh,
I think that is awesome.
yeah.
And it represents the resilience of being up watching and protecting and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, your job is to protect the people of the city.
Yeah.
So it's only natural that you would have to have this type of resolve to do your darndest to protect it.
But the capstone, one of the capstones, is pretty amazing.
Oh,
True Sight. You can reduce your hit dice by 3, and you gain True Sight up to 120 feet. That is the most City Watch next level stuff I could think of.
oh, you think that's interesting? Look at the foresight version of this feature. You can spend 9 hit dice to cast foresight. That's a
Which
ninth
is a
level
powerful spell.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
a 9th level.
Allows you to see into the future and gains all kinds of benefits.
I
So-
can say that future.
So you can see how that even though we picked a different background, that all the abilities still kind of fit the theme, which you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Which I think is really, really important. Was there one you wanted to talk about, Ian?
We're running out of time, so no.
That's fine. So background. I'm gonna say this. I've said this on the show before. When they first started doing feats for backgrounds, I hated it because I liked that they were pure flavor. But if you're going to put mechanics to a background, the idea that they scale with you,
Yep,
is awesome.
Yeah.
The idea that you can tap into your hit dice as a resource where you have to choose: do I live or do I inspire others? You only get half your hit dice back during a long rest. It makes spending them much more dangerous.
Yeah.
it's a small price to pay to be me.
Like I said earlier, high risk, high reward.
Yeah. So, is there anything you would change about the way Chamomile designed these?
I do think it's an interesting idea overall, and like I said, I would probably make a few small tweaks here and there with some of the classes, but nothing major per se. And once again, make sure if your group does run something like this, that's covered in session 0.
Yeah, because you're going to want to talk as a group. Obviously, the hardest person to get this across to is
The DM.
the guy running the show, or gal, or somewhere in between. Yeah, because it's not easy. So, but if everyone has these, it's going to jump your power scale up. So don't be afraid to give them to the bad guys too.
Exactly.
That's where I find the most fun, right?
Yeah.
It's like the flanking feature. If your party's doing it, so can your enemies.
And I think a lot of people forget that, including DMs.
Yeah, I don't have a problem smiting you. I will smite you with every last spell slot till you're done.
Yeah. Oh, you're you're going through the dungeon too easily? Now, let me introduce this dark paladin called All Smite.
That's worthy of a golf clap right there.
Yep. Wait a second. Is that...
All smite. I love that. He says, "You better fear, 'cause I am here." I love it. Overall, I really like this product. I think it's a great way. I do think it needs a little bit of adjustment on some of the balances. But with stuff like this, with third-party content creators, they don't always have the time and to play
Resources.
test everything. So as a DM, you might need to be a little flexible if you find something a little strong. But overall, I think the concept and the design is actually pretty good.
Yep. And to answer your question, was it KS as I've read through it a little bit more closely? Like, no, that'd be not by default, but that'd be more of a DM fiat thing in that
You
particular case.
got to ask the question since nobody's
If you're
listening.
seeing watch, would raising your rank not just level, wouldn't it also mean additional feats or abilities plus equipment?
Not according to this background.
No,
Sorry.
not by itself.
No, I think
What?
that's more of the soldier background.
Yay.
Maybe. Is that what that does?
I don't know.
I
You
don't
just start
remember.
off with whatever rank you were as a soldier.
And then it goes up from there.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think it's really good. I would recommend exercising caution at the higher levels because I can't imagine that they are as thoroughly play tested. But in spite of that, who cares? It's no different than giving magic items to your characters. You're just giving them a few extra little goodies they can use. And as long as all the players get the choice, I think it's a great way to expand character customization options.
Mhm.
So I think that'll do it for our main topic today. Better backgrounds for 5th edition. Great job to Chamomile. I think they did a fantastic job, and I look forward to giving these a go. And Wizards of the Coast, if you're paying attention, you definitely should be watching some of the third-party content creators because some of their stuff is better than yours.
Ooh.
And some of that sounds like ours.
Yeah, some of our content better than yours too. I said it.
Ouch.
Them fighting words. Roll initiative. Well, if you enjoy the show and you'd like to support us, please check out any of the links that have been shared or in the description, or visit us at critacademy.com. Check out our blogs. Please pick up some of our fat loots. I just went through and picked out and redid some artwork. We are going to be releasing our an expansion or a new player option bundle is on the schedule for the near future. So keep an eye out for that. Got a lot of good stuff going on, and just support us. Follow us on social media. Please share our shows. If you're watching live on Twitch or go to YouTube instead, please. And if you're watching on YouTube, please share those links across your social media.
And don't forget to subscribe and click that bell icon.
Yeah, so you can get notified when one of our posts drops.
We should say that more often.
Yeah, probably. And if you're not subscribed, do it right now. Are you listening on the podcast? Pull over, right? Park your car, open up YouTube, smash that bell, and subscribe and bell button right now. That way I don't got to tell you this again. All right? We
You
good?
probably will, but hey.
Yeah, well, definitely. All right. That'll do it for our show today. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Ian.
And I'm your guest host, Matthew. Thanks for listening.
Keep your blades sharp and spells prepared, heroes.